Welcome to the Pop-Off with Gene FitzMagic and friends. Your daily sports and entertainment radio show, live all over the world. You're going to want to hear what these guys have to say. With their hot takes, recaps, previews, and predictions, sometimes these guys might get along, but most times, they won't. So see what happens when these guys pop off about the world of sports and entertainment.
Hey everybody, it is June 20th. It is Tuesday. You are watching the Pop-Off. I am Gene FitzMagic, joined by my very good friends, Caleeb, Nigel Downer, James Wudi. What's going on, my guys? What's going on?
What's up, fellas?
Man, listen, I cannot complain. All is in divine order, as usual.
And a belated Happy Father's Day to everybody out there, and all the fathers on the board right now.
Word up.
You know, I hope everybody had a good one yesterday. Or 2 days ago, rather. Maybe carried into yesterday. Who knows? But anyway, we already got that Beal trade. We talked about it last week. We already have the Beal trade, so we'll talk about that in a little bit. We're going to talk some NFL. We're going to talk some NBA. Got the draft coming up. But first, what we do need to do is we need to inquire about this new hat Nigel has. Is this a new one?
This is one of my oldies, but a goodie. I've had this one for a couple seasons now, but I wear it very rarely. This here, you're looking at the Blue Jays, but it is this colorway right here, kids. This is from Squid Game right here, the Squid Game colorway. So you've got that teal that that all the prisoners were wearing. You got the pink that all the guards were wearing. And not only do I have it in this, but I also have it in this. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, James, you know what's up, my guy? Yes, so this is the Seattle Mariners. As you can see, again, they got this is the officer's color, which is the hot pink, and then you got Seattle with the outline of the teal and the beige. You got a raised Batterman in the back there. It's official with a nice little Seattle Mariners patch there with this nice pop of lime green and stuff there. So, yeah, man. So that's what we're dealing with today, baby. This one will be on my my IG hat site to date. So check it out.
Well,
Lucy.
Yeah, I think it's crazy. I love it. I mean, considering the Blue Jays have so much time to design these dope ass hats, they can't get a run. I saw 11-0 yesterday.
Listen,
so they can keep designing and figure out how they can get a run. And I'm gonna tell you this: that Seattle Mariners hat, as pretty as it is, let me tell you, where I'm from in Los Angeles, no go, baby. That is one of the most dangerous hats outside of the Houston Astros. No. Because, in LA, it's gang culture. That is for a gang called the Rolling 6-0 Neighborhood Crip. And Lord have mercy, Jesus. If you got that hat on, boy, you better be ready. You better be ready for it. They coming with it. Same thing with that Houston Astro. That is the Hoover. And Lord have mercy. They are not playing no games.
Matthew Hamilton was supposed to be.
They don't even care about baseball teams in LA. They actually represent gangs.
Yeah.
They could care less about the team. It means nothing. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So
they're not worried about the Dodgers getting outscored 15-0 yesterday. That's not a big deal to them.
No, hell no. No, like don't nobody care as long as that royal blue don't touch the ground. You ain't gonna get in trouble. You know what I mean? Like it's so crazy. Like hat culture, how LA street culture completely hijacked it for kids. Like you can't, like certain neighborhoods, you better not wear New York hat. Like all of that. Like it's like you're on site, as they would say. So it's very interesting. I'm like, oh, that's a pretty hat. I can never wear that.
It's nice. You can maybe keep it in the closet. Nice little collection. There you go.
1,000%. I got a lot of hats in the closet that like you can only wear in like Woodland Hills and Calabasas.
There you go. Well, now I know why Matthew Hamilton, who was supposed to be here Thursday, may have called out after losing 11-0. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah,
So
I was looking for Matt. Listen, I was tempted to text him yesterday, but I was like, you know what? That's mean. Cause like, come on. You know what I mean? Because 11-0 is a drudging. Like, that's like, yeah.
I you know what? He would send it to me if it was the other way around. So you know what? I think it's fair for me to send it. So you know what? Maybe I'll make a little mention of it later on. I know Patty probably had something cut up for Thursday with it. He loves to show Mariner losses to Matt. But you know what, guys? Let's get into our the big NBA news of the past couple of days, man.
Oh, and just before you get in, for the record, I'm brave enough to still wear it. Even though it's 11-0 whooping, I was brave enough to still.
That's because you're a real fan, though.
Yeah, that's true.
You forget, I'm from the place where they only like you when you win.
Yeah, true.
Like,
True.
LA is very finicky. Like, no. The only people that are loyal are the Mexican fans for Dodgers. Let me tell you, they pull up for Los Dodgers. Yeah. But anybody else, let those Lakers, man, they be like, man, get out of here. You see, like, it took the Clippers forever just to get people to come.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, that's how it is.
Sorry to hijack, Gene. Let's hit it. My bad.
No, you're good. Bradley Beal, we talked about the trade last week. It finally happened. Happened a little sooner than I think a lot of us thought. Let's go around the room. Nigel, what's your take on this trade? Here we go. We got the who went where. Good trade for the Suns. Good trade for the Wizards. Who got the best of this deal?
Ooh, I don't even know. Only because I don't. This big three philosophy, right? So Beal is now going to be the third. The assumption will be that he's the third now, right? So with Booker and Durant. So it's like, is he going to be able to level out this team? Is he going to be able to really bring it with these guys and play with these guys? And if he is he going to be the one that is going to be like, you know what, I'll take a step down? Because he wants to be the star. He always wants to be the star, no matter what team he's on, which is very interesting because he's not great. He's good, but he's not great. He brings a lot of drama.
He's a great scorer, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I mean. It's just like that's the challenge that they're going to now have to overcome with Durant, obviously, and then Booker will have his nights. He's always going to have his nights. There's no doubt in my mind. But I think it's the challenge now of how does Beal mesh with the two cats that are already there. So I don't know what the outcome of this is going to be. I feel like this might be real bumpy for a while before it gets smoothed out. Like before, I think it's going to take up till the All-Star break.
We all know Kevin Durant's the easiest guy to get along with, right, on the court. Like he's super.
He don't get along with his barber, obviously.
You didn't have to, Caleeb. You didn't have to. You didn't have to. We're all thinking it. You didn't have to.
That's a little mean.
Because you know how we are as brothers. Like we be like, come on, man, at least get the hair, like have the hair right, like have it cut. If you gonna have it long, like. But you know what I mean? Y'all.
Yeah.
I get you. Now, but you make a good point, Nigel. Is there enough balls to go around for both Beal and the kid over there and Booker? And then again, KD's gonna need to score. Caleeb, how are they going to go about situating this? Is someone going to have to take a back seat? Who's coming in?
Absolutely,
1,000%.
No, Beal won't. You know who's going to take the back seat? The best player out of them all, KD. He always does it. That's his knock. That is the knock against KD, that he's not an alpha male. He will acquiesce to whomever is more dominant. So if Booker's like, give me the ball, KD's going to pass it. If Beal is like, give me the ball, KD's going to defer. That's what he does, right? He's not like, nah, give me the ball, right? He's less of that. So I think it's gonna be interesting. I agree with Nigel with the idea that it's gonna take a minute to gel, because you just gotta get into rhythm with people. Like Beal is used to being the guy. He's not going to be the guy. So it's gonna be sharing. They don't have a bench. Right. So that's going to be difficult. They're going to have to get players in. That's what I think will be their Achilles heel when it comes down to the playoffs. And in that tournament, I think not having a bench is going to hurt. They're going to do everything they can to fill it up. So I'm assuming that will be that issue will be addressed. But to what Nigel first said about Beal, I think is interesting. He said he wants to be the star. And, here's one thing my daddy told me, rest in peace. He used to say, hey, everybody can't be a star, son. Somebody has got to clap. So that is where it is. Beal is going to have to learn to clap in certain situations, because I think KD needs to be KD. Like, he is better than both of them. Booker is better than Beal offensively to me, but I think KD is still better than Booker, even though Booker is a monster. You know what I mean? But I just feel like KD is unstoppable when he's on. So I think they both should defer to KD. They need KD to be KD for them to really make an impact. Because let me tell you something. The Big Serve is not playing. The Big Serbian is not playing. He's coming back, and now he's going to have the confidence, right? That he's like, I know I'm better than all y'all, and Nuggets gonna be nasty next season. So that's who the Suns need to figure out how they can defeat. And I don't know not that I don't know. I know Ayton can't handle the big serve. That dude Jokic is no Jokic. You know what I'm saying? So it's gonna be interesting.
Pun intended. So let me ask you, James, how do you got it working out? And let me ask you a question: is this going to be very much like that Heat team where they brought in LeBron and they were able to still fill out a bench because people were taking the minimums to go play with that team? Do you see the same kind of thing working out in Phoenix?
I definitely see people jumping to play on a KD big three. We kind of saw that already in Brooklyn, but it kind of didn't really work out there either because that was a huge criticism, right? Was their bench in Brooklyn. I just gotta say, I hate the NBA, man. Like, I don't even understand how trades like this go through. Like, what, like, you know, you talking about who won this trade? Who won this trade? This trade's like this. What do you mean who won? It's just what is the margin of victory? That's what it is. Like, and I feel like this is the only league that does this for the Suns to acquire a player of Beal's magnitude, which I'll agree with Nigel. He's not, great, but he is very good. He is very good. And they didn't even give up any key pieces. Like, I just don't understand how this happens time and time again. Because Chris Paul, I thought they waived Chris Paul. Like we were already talking about where he was gonna go. Like he was already gone, right? Like you got a building block without even giving. They didn't even give up a first round pick. Like, it's just a crazy, I guess, time that we live in where this is what people do. Like, I feel like and I know we're gonna talk about it later, but I feel like the Utah Jazz are like the only team in recent memory that actually were able to get something back from giving something away. So with the Suns, I agree, right? It's obviously not going to happen day one. I feel like the world that we live in, everybody's like, oh, that first game, that first month. But, like, no, it takes time for people to gel, for people to play together.
It even did for the Heat. If you remember correctly, the Heat started off a little slow.
Definitely.
Of course.
I mean, every big three, every single time this happens, and some of them don't even work out. Right, some of them don't work out, but none of them just hit the ground running like that. Even the Celtics, which I really think is like the main one that kind of started this era that we are currently in. Even they, took a little bit of time. So I definitely think this one's going to take time too. But I am not, if I was a Suns fan, any Suns fan, I know Abby's a Suns fan. Please refrain from getting the trophy tattoo. With 2024, because I don't think that's coming. I don't think it's coming.
So you don't think this puts them over the top?
Say that again?
You don't think this puts them over the top?
No. Yeah, no.
And I gotta agree with Wudi, man. It is only in the NBA you can do this. Because if we just real quick with football, D-Hop, is incredible receiver as he is choosing between the Titans and the Patriots. Right, not a single team that's even near doing anything. You know what I mean? Like because the teams are already stacked and they're together. Like in the NBA,
people already spent their money too. This point in the offseason, a lot of those teams spent a lot of that cap space. So that cuts a lot of teams out. Where do we think Chris Paul? A lot of talk is Chris Paul's not going to stay in Washington.
Then he's going to the Lake Show or the Clippers.
I also heard the Clippers. Is that what we're thinking? What about you, Nigel? What are you thinking? Where does he fit?
I just hope it's not the Lakers. I feel like everybody gets dumped to the Lakers, and I feel like it's like, why do people keep going to the Lakers, man? Like, it's just
it's the Lakers.
I was gonna answer that. Yeah, because we all know it's the Lakers, but I feel like he would fit a little better with the Clippers. But again, I think he's fading. Like me and Caleb were on the same train of thought months ago. We were just like, we hoped that he retired. Correct me if I'm wrong. We were like, it's okay to call it, man.
I think the best team he can play for is TNT.
Yeah,
I agree. And State Farm.
That's the best team he can play for right now. Like, come on, man. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, so if he has to play for somebody, the Clippers, fine. But again, at this stage of the game, he's not doing anything that's going to change that team. Literally, he's not doing anything that's going to change that team. Nothing.
All right, so let's get on to the next topic. What else we got? We got let's see. Why is it not popping up?
I see it.
Yeah, I see it too.
There we go. Ja Morant suspension. We this came out just after we last spoke. 25 games. Too little, too much. James Wudi, you go first.
Thank you. I was actually gonna ask to go first. So I guess we on the same page there. I think it's too much. I think it's too much.
Too much.
But I'll tell you the reason why. Because I do think the suspension is deserved, and too many people like my inbox, blowing up. Too many people talking about legality, this and that. Like the NBA is a job. It's a job. If I start working somewhere and they say you cannot wear khakis, right? Wearing khakis is not against the law. But if this job says I cannot wear khakis, your boy is now strolling into the office wearing khakis. It's as simple as that. The suspension is deserved. The reason why I think it's a little excessive is actually, it's a weird reason. This whole all-NBA stuff, Ja Morant is an all-NBA talent. He is. He truly is. But now, moving forward, there is a minimum amount of games played. That number is 65 games that you need to play in order to become an all-NBA player. We know that there are financial, incentives that comes with that too. To give him this 25-game suspension, the max, if he does not get any injuries, the max he can play is 57. I feel like, he obviously knows he made a mistake. He has, come out with the statements. He's trying to make amends, try to work on himself, but because now this is almost a completely lost season for him. And I don't think that is fair. If you want to give him 15 games, right, and still give him a chance to try to get to be, all NBA and reach that talent that we all know that he has. Like this would be an incentive to him to say, all right, let me make sure that my mind, my body, my soul are all healthy so that I can play, the close to the maximum amount of games I'd be able to play, which would be 67, which would make him then be able to be recognized. But to say 57, take it away. This is a lost season for you, Ja. I think it's too much.
But here's the thing. That's the worst thing that he could say. For him to say it's a lost season for me shows you that this is just about him, not the team at that point. And I think that's a bad look for him, right? If he goes there and he doesn't try as hard because he's only got 57 games, or 57 games, and he's going to miss out on any type of all-NBA thing, like that's a problem if that's his way of thinking, right? And I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying if that is his way of thinking.
He's not saying it. I'm saying it.
But I'm saying if he internally really thinks that, that's a problem in itself. To me, I know I have a hard time rooting for someone that would look at it that way, and I would think you would too. So my thing is this, and I think it's way too little. I think at this point, it's one thing if it was his first infraction, we could say, all right, maybe it was a little bit much, even though he knows he shouldn't have done that. But we just got over him. You said he's trying to say he's saying the right things. He's trying to change his life up a little bit. But we already had that speech from him 2 months prior or whatever it was. Maybe I don't know how long ago when the first one happened. And that's my problem with it is you can't say all the right things and then do the wrong thing. The same thing you did to have to say the right things and do that again. Nigel, where do you stand?
Thank you for asking. Listen,
you're welcome.
I just met James not more than 19 minutes ago. Listen, bro, we're definitely divided on this. Here's the deal. He deserves more than this for sure. I was the one that said on this. Yeah, I was the one that said on this pod that I was trepidatious. I was scared. I was afraid. I said it just before the suspension came out, the week before it came out, maybe two, that I'm afraid the NBA is going to do something that's going to be ridiculous, and they're going to give him a number. I took the under. I think Caleeb said like half a season. I think you said. I took the under because I was like, I bet you the NBA is going to mess this up, man. I think that's a mess up. I think the how many games was it? 25? 25 games. Here's a problem. There's a lot of problems. Here's a problem. Again, Gene had just mentioned it. This guy brings out a gun. I don't care where it was. It's at the club. Brings out a gun, and puts it online. Or his friend puts it online. That's what are you doing? Then again, 60 days later, you do the exact same thing. You said yourself, James, that he is one of, or is becoming one of, the NBA's most finest. And you know who looks at the NBA's most finest? The kids, the teens, the college students, the athletes. I'm looking at it from a point of view that socially, if you are now being catapulted as the face or one of the faces as the next generation, you can't be pulling a gun out. I understand it's a job, but your job also requires you to not perpetuate or not be someone who is going to instigate or even be around something that could put other people in danger. Now, we got to remember there's a couple things that happen, right? Back in the day, Ron Artest got 86 games for going out in the state, out in the bleachers, right, for the violence. I understand that. That seemed a little heavy-handed for the time, but you got to put the context of the time too. Like, the league was in a very violent place. There's a lot of things happening, and we weren't dealing with these interactions of players and fans at that caliber at that time. Which is the most crazy, is OJ Mayo. If you remember him from the Milwaukee Bucks in 2008, he gets suspended for 164 games for his second violation of weed. You know what I mean? Was it weed? I think it was weed. But yeah,
I thought it was weed.
Yeah, for drug tests. So it's a drug test. All I'm saying is that we have varying different degrees of where does this punishment lie for what thing, right? The NBA is still trying to figure that out. I digress. I still want to come back to the fact that America has a gun problem. You can't have your NBA stars, your people of influence, with such power over the socials. Social media is such a huge proponent of kids and people growing up now, especially watching these players. You can't have them whipping guns around and only get 25 games. It should have been higher. For me, over. For sure, over. That's just what I think from that standpoint. Yeah, so that's where I'm at with that.
I mean, for me, I agree wholeheartedly that it should have been a half a season. Here is why Adam Silver, to me, didn't mess it up and is brilliant, right? Because I would have went heavy-handed, half a season, right? Adam Silver says, this is a business. He knows how important Ja is, right? So he's like, if I suspend him half a season, that hurts Memphis, that hurts that, but it doesn't just hurt Memphis, it hurts every team that has to play them. Right? Yeah, for Ja Morant not to be there. So that means there's money not going into the owner's pockets, which means that's money not coming into my pocket. So hold on. How do I hurt Ja so he loves it? If it's 25, he gets just under the amount of games he needs to make the All-Star, to make the All-NBA team, which grants him an additional $40 million. So he fined him $40 million without actually finding him the $40 million.
Great point.
It's
great point.
Brilliant, right? And how about this? So now Ja's like, damn, he knows it. And Ja's going to be motivated to come back to play because he wants to. He's a young dude. His team needs him. So he's going to want to go out there and ball. So now you're going to get arrested Ja Morant and motivated. So now he's going to be jumping out of the building. Right? It is a win-win for Adam Silver. And Ja wants to make up that money he lost because he didn't just lose that 40. He's also losing money on endorsements. So now he's got to really be on his best behavior. Yeah. He has to ball out, be on the extra best behavior. And basically, Adam Silver did all that in one fatal swoop. Not only did he get Ja back in line, he got Ja back in line for the next 3 years. And he's going to be the face of the NBA for him. And he's going to make him do nonviolent put away the gun specials for the kids. It's a wrap. It was the most brilliant move. He understood how to lay it out, right? Because let me tell you, I don't care how rich you are. 40 million is 40 million. You know what I'm saying? And Ja's looking at that damn. So, again, I get it, didn't break any laws, but I agree with Wudi. It don't matter. The law is whatever your boss say it is. And if they say you can't do something, you can't. I mean, shoot, they told Allen Iverson no more baggy T-shirts, no baggy pants, and stop wearing 4 diamond chains that hang down to your groin. Next thing you know, Allen Iverson in the damn suit. You like, who is that? I don't even know who that is. What, he going to church? He going to court for murder? What happened? Why he dressed like that?
Do we think he?
You know what I mean? He got glasses on and everything. You know, it's I'm talking about reading glasses, not swaggy glasses, clear glasses. You know, he got the jeans on. So anyway, like I said, I believe it was a brilliant move by Adam Silver. I think that's why he's the best commissioner in all of sports, and I think it felt light to me, but when I saw the financial ramifications, I was like, he thought he knew that. I was like, that's brilliant. So Yeah, I think it's right, but I would have, me personally, half a season, without a doubt. And I think it's because you can't go to your boss's office and he say, come on, man, what are you doing? And you say, look, my bad, I promise that I ain't gonna do that no more. He's like, all right, bro, cool, peace. And then you do it again, and your boy's videotaping you, and you in a car, man. It's almost like stupid. Like what?
Well, no, it's not almost. It is.
Like, and my boy, I'd be like, you can't have a phone anymore. You no longer have a phone because I'm sure Ja pays for his life. Let's not act like that's not what it is.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
You put me out there like that? How about put it on just your special friends or some shit? Not for everybody. Like, damn, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. So it was just, it was crazy, man. It was crazy. But I digress. I think it was it was a brilliant move. I would have done more games personally, but Adam Silver is smarter than me as a commissioner. That's why he's the commissioner and I'm not. So I think it was a brilliant move that he did because he understood all the financial ramifications that would hit Ja without hurting everybody else.
So my question to everybody, we'll go around. Do the Memphis Grizzlies make the playoffs next year?
They can. Yes, they can. They can do a play-in.
What do you agreed?
Yeah, playing. That's what I think too. Playing.
Right. Yeah, they might be better than the playing. I feel like.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like they're still
at minimum the playing.
Remember, it's only there's still like 2/3 of the season left that they'll be able to make up those games. Then now,
and I'll tell you this, we'll see who Ja is as a person. I'm assuming Ja would be motivated. If Ja's a dummy and comes in out of shape and with an attitude because he mad, his career's over. He only hurt himself then. You know what I mean? He can't afford to let himself get out of shape because what happens is his whole game is predicated on athleticism, not skill, athleticism. So if you let that go away or you know what I mean? It takes being out of shape and you think you can jump out the building, you might do it, but you tore something. A ligament ain't right, like because you're not staying active, you're not keeping it oiled. You know what I mean? So it's what has started happening to Shaq, like being out of shape and then like, I'll fix it in the season. No, eventually it runs out. So, we'll really see who Ja is as a man when he comes back from this suspension, if he's ready.
I think Ja's been motivated for less, to be honest with you. Like I'm saying I agree with you, Caleb. Like he's gonna come back and he'll be a man on fire. I think he's always been motivated.
I pray for that for him.
Yeah.
I agree, Nigel. I don't think coming back is gonna be any motivation. I think he's gonna just play well because that's what he does. He's a great player. So I don't think he needs motivation. I think he's going to be great just because that's what he is. He's just a great player.
I'm talking about if you out at the strip club drinking, eating chicken wings, smoking 20 blunts.
They got them good wings, man. It depends.
No,
they got them good wings. What are you going to do?
You got them hot wings at the strip joint. I mean, baby.
I'm just saying, you get a few months of those in, and you're not really taking the game serious because you're like, man, F them. How they gonna do me? Oh, okay.
Well, let me ask you a question. If you're him, right? If you're Ja Morant, don't you look at it like I got off light? Don't you feel like you did it twice? If I'm Ja Morant, I thought I was getting it worse.
His quotes are definitely saying that he didn't get it light. Like he feels targeted. So I don't think he is saying that.
To be targeted is one thing, but he put the bullseye right on his back with the first incident, and then proceeded to basically stand out in front of and put it like on display within like a month or two later.
He's not being targeted. It's ridiculous for him to even put that out. Like, don't try to change the narrative because now y'all look dumb saying that.
I feel like that's a lot of kids, and I hate to be the grumpy old man, get off my lawn type, old man, but like a lot of these kids, like, it's a victim generation, so I do. I saw the quote, I read the backstory. I feel like, he does think that, he is a young kid. That is the generation that does that. So I definitely feel like he is woe is me right now. So I will agree with Caleb. There's definitely it's not a 0% chance that the man is out there, within the strip club with those chicken wings. Like it's definitely possible, but that is how he is drying up his tears. He is drying up his tears in blue cheese. It's possible.
Blue cheese and boobies. But did big question is though, did he learn
TM. Let's use that. Copyright.
Blue cheese and movies. That's a t-shirt, right?
Brilliant.
Yeah. Did he learn his lesson though? Do we think we're past now Ja Morant actually having any more issues like this?
We can only hope.
As a basketball fan, I do hope.
Yeah.
Nigel?
Same. Yeah, I hope.
All right, so let's get on to the next one. This is interesting news, although I don't think it's going to matter. I think he's going to end up in the same place, but Draymond Green declining his player option. Caleeb, do we think he ends up back in Golden State, or do you think he actually makes a move? It's like a Memphis or something like that.
Well, he's trolling Golden State by posting pictures with LeBron on vacation, right? Mm-hmm. That would be the dumbest move he ever makes, to go to the Lakers, because you don't have a shot in hell, especially if they get Chris Paul. Y'all going to be the oldest team in the book with no shot at winning nothing. I don't care how great LeBron is. LeBron is 176 years old too, okay? And it's not going to work. It's just not. So his best shot is to stay with Steph and Clay and retire a Warrior. Because to me, I think Draymond is kind of overrated. Like, I've never been a big Draymond fan. Like, to be honest, right? Mm-hmm. And especially when you talk about competing. Now, he's tougher than AD, but he's going to give you, 2 points a game, 6 fouls, and 3 blocks.
And a technical.
$30 million.
And a tech. And a tech.
Like, come on. To me, it's not worth it. So I think it's a tactic to get Golden State to give him one more close to max deal, right? He can do that because Steph and Clay are going to go to bat for him. Steph don't want to lose Draymond. Like, it's a nucleus. It's a unit there.
He's the heart and soul of that team. He really is.
Yeah. So Steph is, and I think he's that there. He's not that any other place.
And that's why I want to agree with your point, saying how he's a little overrated. You're right. Anywhere else in the league, he does not have the same career that he has playing in Golden State. He was drafted in the perfect spot. That's what I'm saying. He was drafted in the perfect spot for his skill set. I don't know if he does that anywhere else. Maybe I could see him being effective like that in Memphis with Ja, but that's not too many other places. He was really drafted into the perfect place.
You're right. Let me tell you, the best thing that ever happened for Will Perdue in his basketball career was playing with Michael Jeffrey Jordan. Okay? That was the best thing that ever happened for Will Perdue.
The reason why any of us know who the hell he is right now is because of that.
And some people don't even know who the hell Will Perdue is, right? But that's my point. He was the center for the Bulls, okay? After Bill Cartwright, they had a dude named Will Perdue, okay? He got 3 rings. Guess what? Nowhere else in the world would he have ever gotten a ring. He would have never gotten a contract more than $10 million if he didn't play next to Michael Jeffrey Jordan. There's somebody else who should thank a great player for playing with him. His name is Tristan Thompson. He would never got an $80 million contract if he didn't play next to LeBron James. Are you kidding me? Like, sometimes these people, they're only as good as the people they're next to. And without them, they not to say they're nothing, because that's never a respectful thing to say. And I would not say that. But they're definitely not where they portray themselves to be. Draymond Green will act like he's one of the greatest players in the history of the NBA. And he is not.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
right place, right time.
Benny the Microwave Johnson on the Pistons was better than Draymond Green.
I agree that he's overrated. And I feel like you guys are going hard. I feel like, talking about Will Perdue, Tristan Thompson.
I wouldn't say he's on that level.
That's Kevon Looney. I feel like that's Kevon Looney. Like, that's
okay.
Looney can rebound, man. I like Kevon Looney.
But I feel like Draymond, especially because he actually has also deteriorated like worse than everybody else in Golden State. Like, Steph is pretty much the exact same. He might even be better now than he was back in those 2016, 2017 championships. Clay, we know he's deteriorated, but his shot is still if he's open, like
still gonna count from him. Yeah.
He's still knocked down, right? He had that great performance in one of those games. But Draymond, like he's just an old dog, say old yellow. So looking at him now, it's very easy to say, because his ego hasn't changed. He's right there next to Clay.
That's my
point. But I would say back in the day though, like he was a piece. He wasn't, a franchise player by any means. Jerry West out here blowing smoke, telling that he was like a top 10 talent in the league back then. He was never even close to that, but he was a piece. More like Rodman. I would say more like Rodman. A glue guy. He's never going to be the number one, but he made a great impact, especially on the boards, which we know is so crucial in the game. But on defense, Draymond did work. Can he do that work now? Sometimes. But I feel like Will Purdue is harsh. That's all I'm saying. It's
how about Bill Wennington? Maybe Bill Wennington? Could he be Bill Wennington, maybe?
Mark Madsen. But
Mark Madsen.
Here's what I'll just say, though. Rodman at least was like averaging damn near 20 boards a game. That's a big difference right there.
He can wake up hungover and still go get you 20 boards.
That's right, man. So that's the thing.
In fact, he probably did most nights. But
I know.
What do you think, Nigel? Where do you think he ends up? Do you think he stays?
I think where some of you guys have zigged, I'm going to zag, and I'm going to take what James has said, and I'm going to blow it up even further. I'm about that Draymond life. I'm down with that dude, man. Here's the thing. I know. But just for conversation's sake, I'm just going to blow this up for a second. Conversation's sake. Yes, he's not going to get. He averaged 8.5 points this season, right? He's 52% shooting. Not bad. What he does shoot. 7 rebounds, still pretty decent, because again, what a big conversation piece that we had throughout these playoffs was not what you do, it's like when you do, right? Like when you do it, which is a key factor for Draymond. And when he's there to motivate his team, when he's there to be that leader, which had faltered this year since that punching of a Poole and whatnot. If he were to go to another team, yes, he's opting out. Yes, he's maybe he's poking the bear in terms of Golden State. Look, sign me back. I think maybe he does go to, this is where I think Phoenix could have lost out. What if he went to a Phoenix? Or maybe what if he went to Memphis? But I feel like he could be that third person, or he could be that one person that could not so much rival the Joker, not so much, but be a force that could be a spoiler to the Joker type, because we all know what the league's going to do now. The league's going to have to shift and make adjustments, and now they're all going to play either like the Nuggets, or they're going to play when they play versus the Nuggets, it's going to be triple teams, four. So now what if you have somebody that can also help you with that? Or if he goes to a Houston, I just think that Draymond is still worth a little bang for his buck. I mean, it's going to be expensive, which it shouldn't be, but I feel like he still could be that guy, especially opting out, going to a new team, fresh start, give me a clean jersey, let's get it. He talks on his pod, a big game. Boom. I think it could happen, man.
I agree.
I honestly think it could happen. You're right. I think if he was to go somewhere else, though, that's a team that's going to try to look to get out from under that contract by year 2.
Dude, but I got to say this. I agree with Nigel. Nigel's right. But not for $30 million, right?
I know. That's what I said. Right? I know. That's
maybe 10 to 12. Okay, cool. But Draymond's not even lacing a shoe for less than $25 million, and that to me is where the problem is. Same thing with Chris Paul. Chris Paul's gonna be asking for $30 million. Are you insane?
No, we're not talking.
You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. But that's the market. But
that's why you get paid the extra money if you stay in Golden State, because they're going to pay you partly not for what you're going to do for them, but they're also going to pay you for what you've done for them. No other team's going to pay you for what you did for Golden State.
His option is $27.8 million.
So he wants more than that, because he wants longer term.
It's 27.8 and he wants more. Like
he might take less per year if that. He might take less per year if it's a longer contract too. Like, would you be surprised if he signs for 25 a year, but he gets to over 4?
Gee, it will never be less than 20.
No, I agree. No, I'm saying maybe he does like 4 for 100, which is less than
that would be crazy. That would be crazy. Any team
I couldn't justify that as a GM.
You don't think there's some GM out there that's looking at like?
There is.
They need that, because the one thing he has is the grit, right? He's got grit.
The leadership, man.
If that's the case, let's Let's watch old Ray Lewis footage before we go out to play. If you want some damn grit, you know what I'm saying?
We talk about University
coming in the air tonight by Phil Collins and get all hype. You know, I mean, come on, like, it's not worth $30 million.
And that's why I don't know if Memphis is a place for him because they already have Steve Adams, and Steve Adams is that grit. He's just not been healthy.
Listen, you keep dropping Memphis, bro. It's not Memphis. That's not the team, dog. That's not the team. But I agree. I agree with you in terms of. I think we're all on the same page. He's not worth the money that he wants. We get that. I think in the real world, because I was just kind of spitballing. I was just, my eyes in the sky shooting for that pie there. The real world, he probably will stay. You guys said that he probably will stay in Golden State. He'll get like 25 maybe because he'll probably go down a couple. He'll just finish out his years there because, to Caleb's point, which is a very important point, he is part of that machine. That's what he knows. They know that system. Yeah. They could still make another, believe it or not, because they do. They were champions the year before last, but before the season, they could probably make another couple
Anytime
runs.
You can shoot, you always got a shot.
Yeah. They could probably make another couple runs. So he's probably going to stay. But I was hoping he would just like get a fresh start. But who knows?
I think this year Golden State's problem was an ineffective Klay Thompson in a lot of the playoff games. Klay Thompson was ineffective a lot this postseason. I think that might have been if he would have been more effective, they would. I think they might have been able to go a little bit further than they did.
Well, he was coming off an injury too. Am I right?
No, I know. Yeah, no.
Yeah, so he's
that's what I'm saying. I feel like he's always a little bulky. But
I mean, he had a torn ACL and a torn Achilles on the same leg.
Yeah. And that was
that's hardcore. You know what I mean?
That was within 2 years, right? Like
yeah.
Like I mean, that's a lot.
Like,
that's a lot.
So like I give him a pass with that because just for him to even be out there playing all those games says a lot. Because I know a dude in LA on the Clippers who shall remain nameless who will not play if he got a Charlie horse.
That guy gets
Wait, can we all guess? Can we all guess? No, it's good.
I want to say Jason Tatum, but he doesn't play in LA. So I can't say Jason Tatum.
On the man with the best hairline in the NBA.
All right, so let's move on. We're going to talk a little bit about what some of these teams need to do, and we'll start with the Washington Wizards. I mean, they just made the trade. They dumped a bunch of salary. Do we feel like this is a year where Washington's kind of taking a seat and saying, "Hey, listen, let's just clear all these books. Let's play some of these young guys, and then we'll figure out what we want to do next year"? Or do you think are they going to look to maybe add a guy through free agency this year to kind of replace Beal? What do you guys think, Nigel? What do you say?
Man, this is one of those teams. We had the conversation. It's one of those teams that just like wants to be good. They want to turn it around so bad, and I think we all want them to turn around so bad, and I have literally no idea what they can do to do that and make that happen. Because first of all, they need to get into the conversation, in which I don't think they're in terms of anything. Like not play-ins, not players they have. They showed out a couple games. They showed glimmers of hope, but again, the overall mix, I don't know now that they have no Beal. They don't really have a star. Who's there? Kristaps Porzingis. I think he's there, right?
He's there. Kyle Kuzma's still there.
Yeah, Avija, he played pretty good. So I think it's just a team of Kuzma played lights out. He played really great this season. I mean, it's a team of like just kind of the very average. Overall, just very average. So I mean, they need a star, and they need somebody who's gonna elevate everybody's game. So we just mentioned it. Caleb just mentioned it. They need for lack of a better example, they need a Jordan or LeBron. They just need somebody. They need somebody. That's what I'm getting at. They just need somebody.
And now my question is, do they add somebody this year, or do you think they take a backseat this year?
Oh man, I think they do. Listen, I think they do their best to add somebody, because the worst thing that you could do in the NBA is just become irrelevant, because then nobody's making money. You're not getting televised. Nobody cares about your franchise. So you need to make a move, period. So however draft picks they have or whatever they can do, they need to start elevating. Even, and my point is, even with the Hornets, like they're not in a great position either, but at least they were a little bit relevant in terms of conversation with LaMelo. Like obviously he got injured, but they have pieces that are conversation points. Here it's just like, Porzingis, Kuzma, and then that's about it. So they're very average at best. They need to make something happen.
I know we got the depth charts. Pat, you want to pull up the Wizards depth chart real quick before we move on? So here we go. We got, as you can see, we're talking about a little bit about who they have. I think, listen, Shamet's a good get. Landry, bringing Landry in. But I think if you're just like the common fan that doesn't really watch that often, that doesn't really know Washington Wizards basketball, you could probably know, other than Chris Paul, because he's in every commercial on TV. You probably don't really know many of these guys. There's like you kind of what you said, Nigel. There's no star power there. There's no names. Caleb, do you think they go in the same route as maybe Philly went a few years ago and go say trust the process and try to tank a little bit, or do you agree they're going to go try to add a star?
I think they're going to play the field as far as this draft. They got a lot of second-round picks from Phoenix just for the Bradley Beal. I'm sure they can get more. I think they just need to rebuild, right? You got to make it attractive for a star to want to come there. You got to think about it. You're in Chocolate City. You're in D.C. You can get players to come there, right? So it's just you got to have something that they see is viable. And I think a lot of picks, a lot of really good players, like, can get somebody there. You saw what my boy Mr. Buckets is doing with the rec team in Miami. Like he's in the championship. He lost, but he's getting there. A Draymond Green there might help them. See, Draymond will be good in a spot like that. You know what I mean? Again, but I think the Wizards need to take that approach, because one, you have a terrible basketball name, the Wizards. That is not cool. It's your colors aren't really that dope where people want to wear your stuff. You know what I mean? So there's that. So you gotta have something to make it. You know what I mean? Like you got to, and you might get lucky in the draft. Steph Curry got drafted to the Warriors. You know what I mean? Like, people passed on Steph Curry. They didn't think he was going to be who he ended up becoming. So, like, you might get lucky. So I think they got to play the draft, really use their draft picks and try to build the team. And then I think a star can possibly come. You know what I mean? But you got to make it sexy first. Because if it's not sexy, I'm definitely not going to DC.
James, is it sexy enough for you?
No, I think it sucks. I think it's a dumpster. Like, I literally think it's a dumpster.
Did they set themselves back even further with this trade? Obviously, losing Beal, you do. Yeah, but I'm saying, as far as Beal trying to move forward,
that was the one Lego that they had. Like, if you're trying to build, right? Nigel said we in the Big Three era. You have one that's perceived as an all-star, and they couldn't get anything together. They couldn't get any other Lego to attach to the Lego they had, and now they just gave it up. If you are gonna do that, like how Utah did that, giving away Mitchell and Rudy Gobert, well, you might as well have Danny Ainge in your front office so you can get 7 first-round picks for it. But they didn't even get one. They didn't get one. Yeah. They might be expecting Porzingis to do some work. He tied with Beal for most points per game this season. This was also his first season in 6 years that he played more than 60 games. So if I'm a betting man, I wouldn't expect to have Porzingis next year for a substantial amount of time. So they don't even have that. You got Kuz, and then Kuz and the Pips. That's what they got over there. So nobody's going there. All right. They got the 8th overall pick. Caleb brings a good point. I believe Steph was picked 7th. So, yes, people do slide, right? It's not like there's no talent outside of 1 or 2. So, they can hope they get lucky. But outside of that, or maybe flipping, all the seconds to, sneak back into that first round or something like that. I mean, this team is a dumpster. PU. That's what I got to say about that.
Well, I just want to make sure to make this clear that James brings up a really good point. So if they're picking 8th overall, which I didn't realize, they just need to make sure that pick is very clear in terms of what they want or what they need. You know what I mean? Like, you can't do this like, let's get a versatile general shooting guard. Like, it needs to be like very specific. Like, we knew that Steph was a shooter. We knew that. We didn't know how efficient he was going to be year after year after year and how better he was. We didn't know that part.
I think the part with Steph, again, the knock on Steph was really his frame. I don't think people thought he could handle the bigger bodies in the NBA.
Sure.
He put on, but you know what? To his credit, he put on some extra weight. He didn't get big, but he did fill out a little bit, and he kept that jump shot.
Yeah, but to the point though, right? It's like Washington could do something with this number 8 as long as it's very specific. Like it has to be because they're not in a position to kind of, just kind of do some guesswork and just hope it works out. It needs to be very specific.
Agreed. All right, so let's check out this next team. The Indiana Pacers. To me, is another team that's kind of blah to me. Caleeb, where do you see these Pacers going? I mean, as far as what they might do in this offseason?
You know what? The Pacers actually aren't bad, right?
They're mediocre, though. Not. I agree.
Yeah,
they're not bad enough to improve. You got to be bad to improve sometimes.
Yeah, and it's like they're in a weird spot. I mean, they have a shot to get into the playoffs, like through the play-in game. I don't think they'll make any noise. I think it's like they need a star. They need somebody that they can build around, right? And I don't know what their picks are looking like this season coming up. Do we know if like what number they're
seventh? Picking? They got the 7th, so they're right above Washington and the 29th. So they got 2 first-round picks.
See, that's good, right? And Halliburton is a boss. He can ball. I like him the best. Miles Turner is dope too. That's not bad. So I mean, they got some people. Okay, I just think that 7th and 29th pick are the most important picks that they can make. I agree with Nigel about the idea of specificity when it comes to these picks. So the Indiana has 2 that aren't too far apart. So you go get the one that you can get at the 7, like whatever that is, get him. And then number 29 should be the complementary piece to that, right? Mm-hmm. And build off of them and get rid of everybody that doesn't fit into that and get extra picks and get you know what I mean? But like start with that. So I think the Pacers are in a fantastic position with number 7 and 29. You only got 5 positions on the court. You're getting 2 right there. That could be next.
Or do you package them and move up?
What? You're already at 7. You're not gonna get number 1.
Yeah,
you might be able to package some picks and move into like the top 5. Like maybe
I wouldn't do that for one player because that's too much eggs in one basket. And if they get injured or if they're not as good, you know what I mean? Like somebody be Ralph Sampson. Ralph Sampson was great, got injured, all that done. Right? Yeah. Now everybody look crazy, like, oh my God, I can't believe you picked him over Michael Jordan. They're like, what? If you knew what it was at the time, bless you, Thank you. That. So what I'm saying is I wouldn't want to do that. That hurt Houston for a long time. They weren't good again until Hakeem came. So they got Elijah one, right? Yeah. So again, I think you wanna wait. Take 7 and 29. I wouldn't package them to go up higher. That's what I'll say.
I agree. I agree. I think the Pacers are better than the Wizards. And
I agree. Especially now.
About that. We don't know about Halliburton. He can, he's still such a young player, and he averaged 20 and 10. Was this his second year, his third year, 20 and 10? He most likely, right? It's a safe assumption that he'll be even more comfortable as the years go on. So I think you do have a nice building block there. Miles Turner can definitely play. For some reason, he has been in trade rumors for the last 7 years. I don't know why, but he's a nice piece. He is a nice piece to have. So I agree with Caleeb. If you get, or actually both of you, right, with the specificity, right, you get what you want at 7. 29 to complement, and now you might have a competent starting 5 of young dudes, and depending on what you go for, right? They already kind of have good complementary pieces. Like Buddy Hield is a great shooter, right? If he survives this wave, and now you got people that's a good 5. So they have a nice, beginning of a core. Now they got to use this draft to supplement what they have and really build. What direction are we going in? What kind of roster are we going to have? So I think the Pacers are in a good spot. And this is another example, right? Because Sabonis is a Lego piece, like what I was saying with Bradley Beal. And they threw away the Lego and didn't get anything. The Pacers.
But they got Halliburton. That's where they got Halliburton from.
But no, that's what I'm saying. So, I was saying the Wizards threw away their Lego piece and got nothing. The Pacers were able to get Halliburton. Okay. They got this extra pick. And, now they're better off for it. So I'm just going to keep trashing the Wizards for the rest of the show.
You bring up the Kings, too, by bringing up Sabonis. And I was kind of going there is they have a chance to rebuild this team very much the same way Sacramento built their team up. And the Sacramento's a couple steps ahead, obviously, right? But Well, all right, maybe a little more, but you get what I'm saying. Like it's the same trajectory.
Yeah, well, thank you, Gene. That's a perfect segue into what I was going to bring up, was that this could be the coming of another Sacramento Kings in terms of, fresh kids, just balling, just having a good time in a market that is weirdly like the birthplace of basketball, but their team has never really reflected it since the 90s. It's an interesting. They had a nice little run early 2000s, but after that they just kind of petered out. So it's interesting to have a team and a franchise that's so ingrained in the basketball lore and basketball history, and just not be able to have a continuous run. Like, I mean, I know it's about the money, but like the Lakers or Boston or whatever. But yeah, everybody's made amazing points. I think with Halliburton as your lead, after that, sure, keep Turner in the top in trade talks. Just don't trade him. Keep him. It's fine, but you can keep him in trade talks. But yeah, get a shooting guard, get a power forward. You have, you said 7 and 29. Oh my goodness, guys, don't mess this up. Don't mess this up. I personally hate the Pacers, but I'm not a Pacers guy. Why? But mostly because of Reggie Miller, man, because he was just always so.
See, that was the last time they were ever relevant.
1,000%, and I think it was because I love the Pistons Pacers like rivalry so much. I love that era of basketball. I think, Caleeb, we've talked about this before. Yeah. Was like the golden era, like was the best time to be a basketball fan and to watch. And so the Pacers were always just a thorn in everybody's side. Reggie Miller, you just could not stop. It didn't matter. He could throw it from half. He was doing the Steph Curry stuff before Steph Curry. The kids don't know. If you know, you know. But it's like, and then every once in a while they'll come up here in Toronto and they've got our number, and we're like, how do the Pacers beat us? But they have good coaching, they have a decent staff, and the players, they can ball. So again, if they get the right pieces, I think really they need to go for their guard and power forward, because they already have a center and a point guard in Halliburton and Turner. Then I think they're good to go. And Hield, like you said, Hield might be something. So yeah, that's where I stand with the Pacers.
All right, let's go into the next one. What do we got? The Utah Jazz. I kind of like for having to trade a star. I feel like they did pretty good with their trades. That GM is, even back in his Boston days, he's a shrewd GM. James, what do you think about what they're building here as far as this young nucleus with Sexton and Markkanen and whatnot, and even Walker Kessler, who had a fantastic season.
Definitely, Danny Ainge. I mean, there should be statues everywhere he goes. There might need to be statues built in his honor, because the boy knows how to trade. No, the man. He knows how to trade, and he wins every time. And that's what's happened here. The Jazz, now they were interesting, because for a second it looked like they were about to be where the Kings were at. In terms of just success, and Lauri Markkanen, I can't even say he took a step. He took a gallop. Gallop, with his 25 point per game season. So I think here's step one. If I'm in the boardroom in Utah, is really assessing, because this happens sometimes. Was this a fluke year? Like, is Jordan Clarkson? Can you count on him to score 20 points per game for the foreseeable future? That's tough. It is. Well, that's why they don't pay. I'm not in the boardroom, right? They don't pay me, so they got to figure that out. Who of these performers? Because they got a lot of nice production from a lot of different places, from people who literally have almost never done that before. So they need to figure out who can they count on for the future. Is this just an outlier season, right? And from there, because we know Danny Ainge, he knows what he's doing. He don't give away Legos for free. 9th, 16th, and 28th, 3 first-round picks this year. They can do whatever they want.
That's nasty.
If they want to trade up now, they can. And it won't just be one player. So this, I think, when we talk about specificity, which we all are in alignment on, that's a great way to build a team. The Jazz are in the number one of these 3 teams' best place to be in, because you could probably safely assume that Markkanen is going to be a key player moving forward. And then you have the freedom, the liberty, justice for all, to just make whatever type of move in the first round you see fit with these 3 picks. I love it.
You don't need to pick need. You can just go by value.
Absolutely. And I mean, I think that's a phenomenal position, and I think Wudi is absolutely correct. I agree with him. I have nothing to say in disagreement except on the Jordan Clarkson thing. I happen to be a fan. I think he is pretty good. I think he can ball. I definitely know he's got some of the best braids and plaits in the NBA. His is always fly. I always appreciate that. When you making millions and millions of dollars, you should look like you make millions and millions of dollars.
Had a good chat with his barber. Anyway, has a great relationship. Yep.
Yes, I digress. It be parted right. His girl that do it.
Hairdresser. Yep.
He's a baller, though. He actually is good. Will he average 20 plus? I don't know, but he definitely could keep you between 18 to 22. You know what I mean? Like, I think.
How old is Jordan Clarkson? I feel like he's been in the league forever.
Same. He has, and I like him. I think he's better than because he gets traded a lot. But here's what I will say, and even though I like him, he might be a valuable piece that you could trade when you got 3 coming in the first round, just to see what you could possibly get. Because not saying you do it, but I'm just saying Danny Ainge is a mad scientist. Ain't nobody safe with Danny Ainge. It's whatever. He's like Moneyball out there. It's all about the algorithms and this and that. You're not even a human. You're just numbers, and you're in his formula. You know what I mean? And it works. But I'm just saying you can use that. I would say keep him and bring in these other and see what you got. You know what I mean? But it's like the Jazz are in a beautiful position. And I think Danny Ainge, you're right. He should get a statue somewhere, most likely in Boston, but he should. He's genius with it. The only other GM I think that's even there is Jerry West. Jerry West was phenomenal. He built the Warriors and the Clippers. You know what I mean? So that's the only other person. Everybody else pales in comparison to just the ability.
And he had some of those great Lakers teams too.
The brother in Toronto, I always sleep on his name because he's got that. Yes. Brilliant. Yeah.
And last but not least, you guys are 1,000% correct. The freedom now to choose when you have 3 picks in the first round is ridiculous. Side note, Clarkson is 31. So what we have here, though,
which isn't young for a basketball player nowadays.
Right. He looks. Yeah, there it is. 31's on June 7th.
Well, nice. He's young. Shoot, Chris Paul thinks he's still worth $30 million.
Chris Paul could be 67 years old. He still thinks that.
He still thinks that. Yeah, sure. So I think one of the key points here with the Jazz is that they were 5th in scoring and they were 5th in rebounds. That's pretty nice. That's pretty nice. And they ended up 12th in the Western Conference. So it's like what they need is they need 3-point shooters. They need shooters because they're 20th in that world. So they need that. And their field goal percentage was 18%. So obviously they need some more accurate shooters on the team. But I mean, if you're scoring like averaging 117 per game, like let's go, man. That's fantastic. I mean, so now you just got to work on the rebounding and just getting those 3 points, the 3-point shooting in there. So, and you have, again, the key word is freedom to do so. You can look on the board and grab, I think, Gene, you said it, and grab value now. You don't have to grab necessity per se.
I agree with that assessment. So do we see a bright future with Danny? I mean, listen, Danny Ainge should get a statue in Boston just for the way. You remember that Brooklyn net trade he made? Were they Brooklyn already at that point? Were they New Jersey? Where he traded basically all their old pieces that they won the title with. They traded Garnett. They traded Pierce. And he got like a king's ransom for it. I know, James, you're a local guy, so you remember that trade.
Yeah, it was Brooklyn. Yeah.
I mean, they were already in Brooklyn already. I wasn't sure if they were already in Brooklyn yet. They were still Jersey. But, I mean, he should get a statue just for that trade alone because he destroyed that net franchise. That trade single-handedly destroyed the net franchise for years. And so, he is, I think, one of those solid GMs that can just totally – you could have nothing on your team, and you know that he's gonna basically you're in good hands with him in the front and at the wheels.
They got Jason Tatum from that trade.
They did. They got a bunch of players from that. They got a gazillion draft picks. I think they're still drafting from that trade, maybe. But we're gonna talk some NFL now. We're gonna talk the NBA draft. We'll talk day of because we'll actually be on Thursday, day of the draft, which I can't wait for. But so we'll wait till then to talk about the draft. But we're going to get into some NFL news. But before we do that, let's take a quick commercial break, and then we'll talk the NFL.
Happiness is addictive. Passionate about spreading laughter and creating smiles worldwide. Happiness is addictive. Brings our global community together through humor, optimism, cheer, hopefulness, and merriment. Happiness is addictive. Happiness is addictive.
Craving your favorite theme park treats right from the comfort of your home? Introducing MainStreetTreat.com. We bring your favorite treats right to your doorstep. Visit MainStreetTreat.com today and go ahead, treat yourself.
All right, guys, as we wait for the big news of where Dalvin Cook's going to go, where D-Hop's going to go, let's talk a little bit about what's going on in the league right now as far as what we think these teams might do this coming year coming up. First topic up, let's rank those AFC North coaches. So I think it's one of the better coaching conference or divisions in the league. Nigel, let's start with you. I know you were a little. Oh, and he changed the cat. I just caught it. Change the cat for his Steelers.
There it is.
So maybe we're in agreement. Where are you going with your top 4 coaches in that division?
Yeah, you know how it is. You know how it is. Got 6 rings, baby. Okay, so yes, I'm very biased in this division. I feel like, and I just had this conversation with a colleague when I was out in Banff last week. He's a Ravens fan. I'm a Pittsburgh fan. So obviously, like, we didn't find that out until later on in our relationship, which was only like 5 minutes in. But my point is, this division is aggressive. Like this division is probably one of the best in NFL football from top to bottom. Not like just having 1 or 2 teams. However, I say that with a little bit of grain of salt, with a little caveat that Cleveland on paper, again, is one of the teams that should be one of the elite. On paper, when you look at the roster, you're like, oh my God, this team should be destroying, and they cannot put it together. Every season for the last, I would say 4 seasons or so, they just haven't been able to figure it out, which is great for us, for the Steelers. So if we're talking about ranking the coaches, is that what you want to do, G?
Yes, let's do the coaches.
Ranking the coaches, I really think that Tomlin's going to be number 1 for me. After that, you got Cincy, then Baltimore, and then Cleveland. Yeah, that's where I'm standing.
So give me one more time real quick, just so I can mark
So I go Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Cleveland. Did I say Baltimore first or Cincinnati first?
Yeah, you said Cincy first. You said
okay. So Pittsburgh, Cincy, Baltimore, and then and then Cleveland.
Wow, so you put Zach Taylor above John Harbaugh.
Yeah.
It's ballsy.
Yeah,
I don't
it
know
is.
for me yet.
Well, I'm not scared.
But I like it. Listen,
Hey, I got some grapefruits too because I actually have that exact same list. I completely agree. I was actually gonna have a little soliloquy about Kevin Stefanski and how he has been wasting the talent in Cleveland, but Nigel already did that, so that's my piece.
So you have it as well. You have Harbaugh third, the third best coach in the division.
I do. I just think that Taylor has done. I mean, obviously, Harbaugh is a great coach. I don't think anybody is going to dispute that point. But what Zach Taylor has done in his short time as a head coach, I feel like is also very remarkable. How he's turned around a franchise that has been pretty bad for a long, long period of time. He comes from that McVay coaching tree. We know what McVay has done in the league. So I think the sky's the limit for Taylor.
See, I'll differ with you guys on this, and I guess by the way I'm talking, you guys could understand what I'm going to say is I got Tomlin first. He always overachieves with his squads. No matter who he's got on his team, he always gets 9 wins. It seems like no matter who's on that squad. But I do have Harbaugh over Taylor. Now I agree, Taylor's done a lot to start his career off, right? But I mean, he's got the best quarterback on the planet, if not the best, second best quarterback on the planet. He's got maybe the best receiving core, maybe in history. I mean, that's a nasty receiving core.
Definitely not history, but go ahead.
But it's a nasty receiving core.
It is.
I mean, you got three guys. You got three guys that could be number ones on other teams.
Yeah, we got teams from the '80s that had receivers or defensive, everything that could be starting. You know what I mean? Like that '85 Bears team. Like anyway, go ahead.
But we're talking about receivers, and I find
no, I get it. But what I'm saying is like, yeah, like those teams are stacked. That 49ers team with John Taylor and Jerry Rice.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
Like, come on. But anyway, go ahead. Go ahead, Gene.
Better than this group. But they also have a third receiver in this group here.
Right.
But anyway, so I'll digress. But so I think Taylor's fine. I think he's a really good coach. I think Harbaugh is a great coach because, like Tomlin, I think he does more with less as well. He doesn't do it with a lot of fanfare. Like it's same thing with Tomlin. Tomlin doesn't do it with a lot of fanfare. Tomlin's very just by the book, just says what he needs to say. He's not a big rah-rah guy. I mean, in the locker room, sure he is, but I'm saying he's not on the mic acting like an idiot, like talking, he's just a solid coach. And I find John Harbaugh to be in that same vein. I find them very similar in that sense. Taylor, again, good coach, a hell of an offensive genius, right? He hasn't done enough for me to put him at that same level as the other two guys. Would he win with less is my question. I think we've already know Tomlin and Harbaugh have won with less. I don't know that Zach Taylor can win with less. That I don't know yet.
I think from a Madden perspective, yeah, their roster, but like top to bottom, like 53 players, I actually would say that the Bengals have the worst of the four teams. Like I actually think there are a lot of holes that just get glossed over through the coaching of Taylor, the play of Burrow, and then obviously the athletic skill set of the three guys that you named. But I don't look at that roster and say, oh wow, this is a complete team.
Listen, defensively they're a little lackluster. I think offensively they even improved on offense this year. They improved that offensive line. They took their left tackle, moved him to right. They brought in Orlando Brown Jr. to be their left tackle. So they've already upgraded the offense from what it was last year. That offense should be even better this year. The one thing I think they do lack is a star running back. And that's why I'm so surprised they weren't in on Dalvin Cook. He would electrify that offense, which is already electric, right? I just have Harbaugh. I think Harbaugh's done more with less throughout his career. Again, you might be right. It's definitely comparable, those two teams from man number 1 to man 53. But I just think Harbaugh. I would trust Harbaugh more to be my head coach with no matter what my team was.
Listen, your point is your point. I'm going to push back, but I'm not going to like maliciously or like push back on that. But let's remember the pieces that Harbaugh has had on his teams were known like very good players out the gate. The Steelers people that we've seen that have become known household fixtures, they weren't out the gate.
That's why I have Tomlin higher. That's why I have Tomlin higher.
Great.
So I have Tomlin number 1. I have Tomlin number 1, and Harbaugh comes at second for me.
Got you. My bad. You're a good man, Gene. Sorry, Caleb.
Well, I mean, Tomlin to me. Listen, there's been talk about Tomlin leaving. I would love him to be like. As much as I love Saleh, I would trade Saleh for Tomlin.
Oh my God!
That's not even like a debate.
No, there's no question.
So there you go.
So I would definitely, we're in agreement with Tomlin as number 1. Like I really like him as a man and how he runs his team. That's why he's the best. And he understands people. He understands his players. He understands how to get the best out of them, even when they're not performing at the highest level, right? He knows how to get them there. I love Harbaugh. I would have picked Harbaugh higher than what I am. I'm going to put the Bengals coach above him. Here's why. Harbaugh showed me he doesn't understand emotion, and he doesn't understand the human condition with what happened with Lamar Jackson. You do not ever make your quarterback feel that he is not important to you if you know he really is, right? You do not do that. You go to that office and you make sure they give him whatever get it done now. I want that deal done now. I don't want my quarterback tweeting, they don't respect me. What? You're allowing that? I don't care if it worked out. That shows me, because that locker room will never be the same. Ever. You you showed people that you really aren't in control, or that you will be silent when you're supposed to stand up. Let me tell you something. Mike Tomlin, there was a man named Ben Roethlisberger. Maybe some of y'all may have heard of him. He got in trouble allegedly in a bathroom with a young lady doing what adults do, allegedly. That his coach that next Sunday said, I don't care what happened, we'll figure it out. But Ben is our quarterback, and he'll be here Sunday, or whatever the NFL decides to do, that's their thing, but he's the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback. Next question. He's with me. I don't care what he did. We're going to talk about that internally. But that's my man. Let that be known, right? That is all makes all the difference in the world. Now, the Bengals coach, who knows? You're right. He got Joe Burrow, baby. When you got Joe Burrow, a lot of things can work. So we'll see where it comes. Stefanski, we're going to see if he can make it happen this year. This year will be his test, right? So we'll let that will sit there. He's got all the fire he needs. It's just whether he can put it together. But that really hurt me with Jim. Though it's John. It's John. Yeah, John. That, because I know Jim is his brother. John, that he let that go with Lamar Jackson that way. And I felt, and I know it's not anything to do with being a racialist, because I doubt that he is, and I know that's not the word, but I like saying it, so sue me. Anyway, I don't think he's a racialist, but what I will say is that I just felt he didn't have his back in the way I would have hoped. And I think that is the part that Tomlin has that allows him to have a team that shouldn't do nothing and they go 9-8. Or they go, you know what I mean? Like it's because of that. It's because of what's in here. And I think that means everything when it comes to coaching. You know what I'm saying? So
I get what you're saying.
The
quarterback is an extension of the coach in that sense. So yeah, you do need to have that trust.
Steve Kerr has the Warriors the way that he does. You know what I mean? It's why that first Celtics team, they loved Doc Rivers the way that they did. You know what I mean? Like when you got that thing with you, it's why Pat Riley is so great. He's another great GM, by the way.
Yes,
he is.
It's because they understand people. You know what I mean? And I think when you let business supersede the human, it knocks you down a little bit. You could be great between the X's and O's, but it knocks you down a little bit. You know what I mean? It's what happened to my boy Belichick. I love Bill. He's the greatest coach of all time. But how he let that go with Tom? Tom said, "Oh, okay, really?"
Well, there was an ego thing there too between the two of them, I think, right?
But why? He's your quarterback.
Yeah.
You, as the coach, you sit back and you say, "It's all Tom." I was just here. Everybody know you, but you gotta defer it. Phil Jackson ain't never say, "Well, hold up, Mike. I was coaching." You know what I'm saying? Hold on, Shaq and Kobe. Hold on. I was there for that 3-peat. Never, ever out of his mouth. He's like, I had Mike and I had Shaq and Kobe. I mean, you know what I mean? Yeah. Now, we know Phil was great, but I'm just saying those are the differences. That's what takes you to the next level, and I feel Harbaugh dropped the ball on that one, just in my opinion.
So my question is this. You guys are GMs in the NFL. You are able to choose from either John Harbaugh to coach your team or Zach Taylor. You guys all pick Zach Taylor to coach your team?
No. I would take Harbaugh, but I'm going to say let me talk to the players.
Okay.
I got him. What's wrong with Lamar? I'll take him. I got him. He'll be fine. Just let me deal with it.
And that's what I'm saying. So I agree, and I agree with you to an extent with John Harbaugh dropping the ball a little bit with how that all shook out.
You gotta stand up for your players. That's what makes you great as the coach.
And even at a default, sometimes these coaches got it. Because if you remember, I don't know, James will remember. You remember when it was Rex Ryan was the coach of the Jets, and everyone killed Rex Ryan because what did he say? He's like, I have the best corner on the planet, the best corner of all time. We shut the whole field down. And then when Darrelle Revis held out because he was like, well, I'm the best corner of all time. My coach even said so. We all killed Rex for saying like, oh, see, you filled his head up with all this nonsense. Now he's not even here.
But that's what you're supposed to do.
And that's what.
But that was him. He took that because Rex is supposed to say that.
That's what I'm saying.
He took it because Darrell had an ego thing. Same thing that happened with Josh Norman. Everybody was talking about now all of a sudden he coming out, he wearing fur coats and I'll do this. Receivers started eating his ass for lunch. Pause. You get my point. You know what I mean? But it was like, come on, bro. Like they allowed it to go to their head, right? Mm-hmm. But I'm saying if they could keep it straight, it like Tom Brady wasn't an egomaniac. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it just depends on your players, you know. But I don't mind that. I think as a coach, you gotta know your players. And I think Harbaugh dropped the ball with Lamar. You know what I mean? I really do. I feel like he should have been saying, pay him whatever he wants. Like, I need him here. And, you know what I mean?
Yeah, to when put that in
that non-exclusive franchise tag, and you know that's what Lamar said he did not want, and you let that happen. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's no trust there. It's a business now between them. So now when it's business, whenever it benefits me, I'm gonna do what that is, regardless of you. Sorry. You know what I mean? Because it's business. But when you have a dynamic, you'll do things because that's your man. You be like, nah, I'm not doing that. I'm sticking this out. No, we gonna do this. You're gonna play injured. You're gonna do things because it's a dynamic, it's a relationship. And I'm just saying that's what Tomlin has over Harbaugh.
And I think to put this in a different context for those that might not just can't understand it or grapple what Caleeb's saying, which is a very specific thing in terms of having a relationship, an actual relationship with your leader. Let's talk about, for a very brief second, let's talk about directors and actors. This is the whole reason why you see Martin Scorsese and oh my gosh, I had his name, Leo DiCaprio. Yeah. Working together all the time. That's why you see like Wes Anderson and like, Bill Murray that's an older case, but that's why you see specific directors always working with the same talent. It's because they've built a relationship. Not only is the talent amazing, but the director has gone out of their way, and vice versa for the actor as well, to know the person before or in conjunction with the boss or the director or the coach. Once you have that relationship established, once you find those commonalities, everything is malleable and everything can be shifted, and you've got the trust, which is the biggest word out of the whole thing. The trust is there. I'll go to bat for you, you go to bat for me, no problem, I got you. So if any off-field antics happen, we're going to talk about it internally, make sure that whatever punishment needs to be laid down has happened, but also all the accolades. If I'm going to get an award for something, an Oscar for something, you best know that I'm going to give a shout out to my director. Of course I'm going to do that, right? So it's it's a push-pull here. It's one of those relationships, that you got to respect. And it's the same thing with football. It's the same thing in the athletic world, man. That's why you see key partnerships. When you look at a star player, think about who the coach was, because I bet you they had a better relationship with that coach than anybody else. And you'll find it. You can dig it up on YouTube or you can dig up articles, but it's the relationship, man. So
when USC was winning all those years, Pete Carroll, with his boy, like I'm just saying, and I agree with you, Nigel. Using the film industry as a mirror is spot on. That's exactly it. Because as actors, and I know this coming from an acting family, their image is what is being sold. It's being sold on them. So they need to trust wholeheartedly that the person that's in control of that image knows what they're doing. You know what I mean? It's paramount, right? So it's the same thing. Your legacy is on the line with your coach as an athlete. You know what I mean? So yeah. We need to know that. And if the coach wants to be the star more than you, then there's a problem.
That's a good point. All right, so let's move on to we spent a lot of time on that. Let's go on to the next topic. Most improved quarterback of 2023. This is a pretty decent list, I think, of options here. So let's start with Nigel. Nigel, who do you have as the number one guy you think is going to see the most improvement from this football season from the quarterback position?
Yeah, man, this is tough only because there's so many great quarterbacks that you just expect to, if not excel or stay at the same level that they were playing at in 2022. So I'm going to take a shot in the dark here. I'm going to say either Trevor Lawrence or Justin Herbert. I think those are the two, mainly because I don't want to go to a quarterback that we already know is great. Like, obviously, nobody here should be picking Mahomes because we all know that he's going to be.
I got to redo my list.
Yeah, I knew it. I was only speaking to Gene mostly that whole time. But I think those two, I'm excited for, if I have to put any money on it, I'm most excited for Trevor Lawrence because I just feel like he had a decent year last year. Not only that, but like they started playing, everybody knows, like they started playing like they not only had a chip on their shoulder, but that they could win. So with confidence. And it showed, man. They made it to the first round of playoffs. It's been a long time for them. So I just feel like having that new coach, having Doug Peterson in there. I mean, I feel like it's gonna be a fun time for Lawrence and the Jaguars.
Caleeb, who do you got?
So for me, because these quarterbacks are already all great. They like Herbert to me he's my favorite quarterback. I think he's phenomenal. Right.
Same.
So improvement he's not going to improve. He just may win more games, but his skill set is not going to really differ. Right. Same thing with Trevor Lawrence. Phenomenal. He may win more, but I don't think it's going to change. You know who I think is going to improve? The guy that represents your team, Kenny Pickett. I think he's going to improve because think about improvement now. The word means growing from where you were, like improving, becoming better. There's a whole lot of room for him to improve. You know what I mean? And I think he will. I think he's going to take a major leap forward. Do I think he's going to be phenomenal in all this and top 20 quarterback? No. But the question was improvement. It's going to be between him and Russell Wilson. Just think about the area that they get to cover. You know what I mean? If Herbert wins, you just be happy, like, okay, cool. But you always knew he was a boss. You know what I mean? He's making passes that are like unbelievable. So improving, I think it will be between Pickett and Russell Wilson because they have the most ground. Tua just has to stay healthy. It's not about like, oh, he's better now. No, it's just he don't have a concussion. You know what I mean? So I think it'll be like those type of quarterbacks that will improve more. You could throw Carr in. Well, even Carr is good, but Carr could improve a little. But you know what I mean? I don't know if I'm making sense. But
I wholeheartedly agree. I got nervous when I heard Trevor Lawrence and Herbert. I was like, oh,
okay.
Are we talking about like guys that are good?
All right. You know what? Fine. I'll Venmo you guys some cash for doing this. For doing me a solid.
I look at it this way. This award should be called the Geno Smith Award, right? This is the Geno Smith was what we needed.
Exactly. But that's a good point.
And that's why I think this is who it is. I think this year's Geno Smith is going to be Sam Darnold.
Sam
Darnold.
Stop it. I'm gone.
It's going to be Sam Darnold this year. No, listen. I got 2 picks, and then we'll get into James's spot. I got 2 picks, and one of them is I think there's a chance Sam Darnold starts the most games for the San Francisco. I don't trust the health of the other 2 guys. And he's in a perfect spot for quarterbacks. I don't think he's coming back. He might have really left.
Gene, what are we doing on this pod?
What
are we doing on this pod, bro? Like, you already lost one person. Stop, Gene. Stop. We lost Caleeb, Gene.
Sam Darnold can't be a comeback player of the year. He can't be an improved quarterback this year, playing in that system. Honestly.
No, it's possible. It's possible. That's possible.
What? Hey, stop perpetuating, James. Stop doing it, bro.
It's not zero. It's not zero. But
there's a chance he could be the most improved player in the league this year. But I'm going to go with somebody completely different. And I should stand by my guns and say Sam Darnold. But you know what? For the sake of everybody else has a problem with Sam Darnold, I don't know why we all want to pick on the man. He's already got it hard enough because he looks like that Disney villain. But I'm going to go with Justin Fields, man. I think we've already seen him throughout the year from game 1 to the end of the season to when he got hurt. We already saw a marketed improvement on him last season. I think now you're adding some receivers to the mix. He's finally got some guys to throw to. He's got another year in that system under his belt. I think you're going to see him actually, we were afraid of him running the ball. I think you're going to see him add that passing game to his game now, even more than it was last year. I think that's going to upgrade majorly this year. I got Justin Fields as the guy that's going to take a huge leap. I wouldn't call it a comeback because Sam Darnold, I think, gets the comeback player of the year. Right, but I wouldn't call it a comeback because I think he's only just growing still. So it's not a comeback. but I think he's going to be the most improved quarterback this year. So much so that he could be a sleeper Pro Bowler, I think, this year. I mean, everybody makes the Pro Bowl nowadays, right? So I guess that's not saying much, but I think he could be a Pro Bowler this year. So I take away Sam Darnold, although I do still think he'll be the comeback player of the year. I don't think he'll be the most improved. James Wudi, who do you have as the most improved quarterback this year?
Well, I'm glad that we came back, with, actual improvements. I actually have written down almost every name, right? Yeah, actually, every name that you guys have said. But the one that has a star next to it, the name that I'm going to say, no one has said. I don't know why, because not too long ago, he was actually a top 5 quarterback in the league. I feel like he was top 5. He is still a boy in his 20s, in his prime. Deshaun Watson is on the Cleveland Browns. They got Amari Cooper, and now he's had a full off season, right? He came back last season. I had him stashed on my fantasy bench. I was like, this boy's going to win me the championship. I didn't even make the championship because he was trash, but now he has the offseason program and everything. They got my boy Elijah Moore. I am a Jets curse. Everybody's jersey that I bought, every jersey I buy, they ask for a trade the next day. There's something about
me. Got the same
so
issue.
I'm done. I did not buy a Rodgers jersey. I'm not buying any jerseys for the rest of my
life.
I can't. I cannot do it. I cannot do it. So all I'm saying is Deshaun Watson, with the weapons he has, the line that he has, the offseason regimen that he's about to go through, I think he will reassert himself into the top 5 in the NFL quarterbacks. I think he will be improved.
I agree. I agree with that a lot. The only reason why I didn't mention Deshaun is because I felt he was already a top 5. And the only reason why he's not is because he hasn't been playing, versus Russell Wilson, who I put in there, who already has a Super Bowl ring. But the issue with Russell was he was still playing and getting worse. like at least Deshaun has an excuse. I ain't played in 2 seasons. Damn, give me a break, right? So in that respect, I agree. Deshaun he has a big area that he can improve on. But he would just be getting back. It's like Jordan wearing the 45. It was like he was warming up and then he got back, put on the 23, back at it, right? So it feels like that with Watson, because I think this year he's gonna kill it. To be honest, I think the Browns are gonna be nasty, right? So there's that. But again, Pickett, we've never seen him be good. My mom is a diehard Steelers fan, and she be dying when he plays. Oh Lord, it's hilarious. You know what I mean? So
that means I sound like your mom, because I was saying the same thing. I was saying the same thing every time.
Oh my gosh, right? She be like, "Oh, goodness," So I'm hoping for her health and her own health and mental health that he improves. But I think he can, because I do believe in Tomlin, and I think Tomlin can motivate him enough to want to. And I know Tomlin's going to put all the pieces around him to give him that knowledge and teach him what he needs to know to improve. If he doesn't, it's just a knock on him. And then Russell, it's like, Lord have mercy. Like, you got to stop the thing. Didn't that stupid TikTok video or Twitter, whatever he posted of his workout? It's like, dummy, I don't want to see you work out. I want to see you throw a pass on the field. That's catchable. You know what I mean? Like I don't care what you holding a football and the weight in your hand and sliding and all. Get out of here with that.
It was the most expensive 16 touchdowns in league history.
Yeah, it's like, come on, bro. Like, really? Like, don't nobody need to see that. Don't nobody need to see that. It's hilarious.
All right, so next topic. Ranking the NFC South wide receivers. And let's start over with James on this one, man. Who give us your top 4 NFC South wide receivers?
Top 4, okay. Number 1 and 2 are on the same team. They are teammates. Got to go with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. I think they are both amazing. Mike Evans is, in the middle of a Hall of Fame career. Pretty much simple as that. I mean, we didn't know what his numbers were going to be like with Brady. Everybody tried to say, Tom loves his slot guys, which he does. And Godwin, we're looking at his numbers right now. But they just didn't have, after Moss, they really never gave Tom another dynamic outside player. But Mike Evans was that guy, and they connected a lot. He is a very talented player. Of course, this season, who knows if either of them are going to even combine for 1,000 yards with Baker throwing the football. But that's a story for a different day. Number 3, Chris Olave. I mean, he could have been Rookie of the Year. I know my boy Garrett, Gene's boy, the Jets, ended up getting that award. But Olave, super dynamic. Number 4, it's kind of tough. I'm really tempted to put his teammate Michael Thomas there, but when we talk about best, we talk about people's abilities, and the best ability of them all is availability. And he's not around. So if he does play, I would assume he's in that top 4. I feel like it's a disrespect to exclude him. But if he is continued to be on IR, then I'll throw Drake London in there on the Falcons. Not super excited. I really don't like any other receiver in the division, to be honest. Like DJ.
You think Adam Thielen's done?
Thielen is old. Like I feel like there's no one really spectacular in that division outside of the Saints and the Bucs receivers.
I'm gonna go next. I have all your guys. I just have a different order. And because I based mine on what I thought this year, how they'd end up this year. So
okay.
I actually have Olave as number 1. I think he's going to be the best receiver in this division this year by far. I think Mike Evans has too much tread on the tires. I think he's still good. I'm not saying he's not. Same thing with Goodwin. But I think Evans has gotten a little too much tread on the tires. I think Olave is in the perfect spot. Derek Carr coming over. People, even though Michael Thomas is not been there for, I feel like forever. I feel like I don't remember the last time I even seen Michael Thomas on the field, but he's still going to command.
Pretty much after he set the record for
pretty
reception.
much, right? Yeah, and he had a little bit of a contract dispute, got his money, and then got hurt,
and then he got injured.
Yeah, so and we haven't really seen him since. But I think Olave is going to benefit from him coming back too, and I think Olave is going to have a fantastic breakout year. It's the perfect scenario for him. He might even have a better year than Garrett Wilson, which I'd hate to say because I'm a Garrett Wilson fan, but I think he might even leapfrog Garrett Wilson a little bit this year. But then I'm going to go Mike Evans, then I'm going to go Chris Godwin, and then I'm going to go with London is from Atlanta as well. I think he has another year where he's going to take a step up. Not another year because it's only his second year, but I think he has a step up this year. I think he's gonna him and Ritter. I think gonna make a nice little combination, nice little duo. And it's going to be sneaky because I think they're going to sneak up on people. I don't think anyone's expecting Ritter to be anything great. And London only in his second year. I think they're going to sneak up on some people this year. And they'll probably be playing from behind a little bit. So that might be another reason why they able to put together some nice yardage together. Caleeb, who do you got?
So I agree with you guys mostly, except I think when you talk about best, it has to be Michael Thomas. I get he's not available, but God willing, he plays this season. I think he's going to reassert himself as that. He's just phenomenal as far as hands on ball. Pause, but you get my point. Also, the next thing is the Mike Evans. You're right, Gene. He does have a lot of tread on the tires, but you can't beat height and skill.
Nope. And size.
Nobody can do it. It's like he is something special. So I expect to see him. Chris Godwin again. I think Olave is better because he's more healthy and he's younger. He has less injuries. Godwin is injury prone. He's been hurt a lot and it's like repeatedly like happening. But injuries aside, skill set, Godwin is there. Olave, Evans, and Thomas are the best, and you guys can put them, they could be in any order really, but I would say Michael Thomas is number 1, and I would put Evans at number 2. I would put Olave at number 3, and I would put Godwin at number 4. But Saints and Bucks receivers, and I like what Atlanta's doing, but I think Kyle Pitts is the best ball catcher on the Falcons, better than any wide receiver they got. That tight end.
I agree. I agree. If we're going over pass catching, like just a pass catcher, then yeah, I think he'd be on that list for sure. Especially this year, I think he
because
actually
that's what I'm thinking about when you say best. When you talk about receivers, I don't care how fast you are or tall and any of that. If you got butterfingers, remember, you ever see that movie Necessary Roughness? And they had that receiver that was fast as I don't know what, couldn't catch nothing. They called them stone hands. Like that. If you got stone hands, You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
the ability to catch the football to me is the most important thing. And that's why I think Michael Thomas and Mike Evans are like Michael Thomas could be injured and you could throw him a pass sitting in a chair and he'll snatch it. You know what I mean?
Listen, Mike Evans could definitely come back this year and be the best guy in the division for sure. It's
No, I know what you know. You need to see it. I get it.
Yeah.
And it's going to be hard with Baker Mayfield, boy. You're going to see how important a quarterback is. You're going to see how real important. Because especially when he's leading you into danger. Like,
yeah, it's going to be tough.
Yeah.
You never know. He might be this year's most improved quarterback. You never know.
Stop that. What is wrong with you, man? What is wrong with you?
I just love that draft class. That's all it is.
Okay.
Nigel, I'm only joking about the. I don't.
Again, no notes. You guys did the same. I mean, at this point, it's going to be repetitive. It's the exact same thing. My only question is just the whole Mayfield Evans team up. That's it.
Do you think he actually makes Baker Mayfield a little relevant this year?
I don't think so. I mean, potentially. I just think Evans is going to be Evans, and Mayfield is just going to throw what he throws, which is in a somewhat of an accurate window or a box or anywhere where Evans can just kind of reach it. I'm doing a lot of visual stuff here, but I'm just trying to catch a wily ball, and I think Evans will catch it, but it's not going to be on point. It's not going to be accurate. So I don't know if it'll make him relevant again. I think Evans will be Evans and get his yards regardless.
I'm going to be honest. I don't even know that Mayfield starts the majority of the games for Tampa this year. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, you went from winning an award at the end of the year to not even playing.
I mean, I was joking with him. I do believe in Sam Darnold in San Francisco. That I will say. All right, so AFC running backs. In the East. Let's list them. Nigel, who do you got as your top running back or your top 4 running backs in the East of the AFC?
I'm doing a little bit of thing here. I really like Chubb.
No, AFC East.
Oh, sorry. I defer. I have to go back and check.
Okay,
I'll start. I got no problem.
I know you picking number 1.
You know, as a Jet fan, you know, this is one where I feel like I don't know. Like I know obviously right there's Jet bias, but I feel like it's pretty inarguable when you just do a quick Google of the depth chart that Breece Hall is. You know, he has a much higher ceiling than any running back that we could look at. Dude can do it all. He can literally do it all. I'm so excited to see how he responds to the ACL tear. He was on pace. I mean, the pace that he was on, it's kind of incredible. But the usage, that's the thing. So we'll see if they ease him in, right? If the Jets are lucky enough to get Dalvin, then obviously that's going to be a pretty split committee. He's probably not going to get 25 touches a game, but if not, then he'd probably get 25 touches a game, and we'll see him have another monster season or another monster injury. Hopefully it is the former and not the latter. Number 2, Ramondre Stevenson. Pretty good running back. I will not lie. I do not love any other running back in the AFC East. Literally not one of them. So this is just, ranking, I don't know, just
the best of the rest.
Yeah, this is like ranking flavors of rice cakes right now. So Ramondre Stevenson.
Whoa, everything bagel. Everything. I'm going to say this. Everything bagel rice cakes. That's actually not a bad. That's not a bad snack. Everything bagel rice cakes. I'm telling you, Wudi. Try it. Those will be your free salt.
Bagel rice cake Stevenson is number 2. Okay, number 3 is Raheem Mostert on the Dolphins. I mean, dude has speed. That's another one where he got to stay healthy.
Yeah.
When he's on the field, you can't catch him. And then number 4 is actually he's a Bill, but he's been a Patriot. I think his whole career. Damian Harris. Right now they got James Cook on the depth chart above him, but I don't think that's going to hold on too long. James, he is not his brother Dalvin. But I think Harris is that dude. I actually think he's been a little bit disrespected by the ascension of Ramondre. So now he's about to do some work in Buffalo and let Bill know that he was a fool for letting him go.
I have the same exact list as you. Only difference is I have Mostert and Harris switched. I do agree. I think Harris is the starter by the end of the season. or at least he gets the majority of the carries. Who knows? I mean, with backs, starting doesn't matter with the backs, right?
Yeah.
It's who gets the majority of the carries. So I think you're going to see Harris get the majority of the carries there for Buffalo. But I got Breece Hall, who I think was on pace to have a monster year as a rookie. Like you said, they may ease him into it, but you know what? In Izzy, we trust. I think Izzy's going to be fantastic. I think he's going to be that second back there that's going to help spell Breece. But I have Breece as the number one guy. Ramondre Stevenson, who I feel like the Patriots talk a lot about, have a lot of trust in, but we have yet to see him really break out. I think he does have a breakout year this year, and I feel like they think so too. That's one of the reasons why they let Harris walk. And it's the only reason why I have Stevenson above Harris, because if you would have asked me last year, it would have been opposite. I would have had Harris above Stevenson. But then I got Harris and I have Mostert. Mostert's a home run at any given moment. Like he's not going to always get a ton of yards, but at any given moment he can hit that 80-yard touchdown run. So I have Mostert in there at number 4. Caleeb, what do you got? What's your 4?
Oh, I'm ready now. I'm ready. Caleeb, let me go. I'm ready.
Go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead, Nigel.
Okay, very quickly. I mean, I think I have all the same people. Stevenson for sure. He's my number 1. I think. Yeah. That's right, Wudi. He's my number 1 because I feel like there's a certain thing about teams that have not a bad offense. Their offense is very average, but like a decent line and like a quarterback is very inconsistent. All of a sudden, they're going to start running the ball a lot more because that's the safest thing that they can do. That's the safest thing they can do, right? So he had over 1,000 yards last year. Like, yeah, man, give the man the ball. It's fine. I think he's going to have a decent year. Mostert is my next one. Then I have Cook over your boy Hall. Sorry?
I don't even know what's going on. Wudi, I don't even know what's going on right now. I had a problem with Breece not being number 1.
Yeah.
And you got him 4th?
How do you have James Cook over Breece? Breece almost had more yards in
like 6 games.
10 less games played.
Yep. This is my thing. I don't know anything about your Jets, boy. Don't know nothing about them. So it's kind of like so this is what I did. I wrote down all the running backs. I did one of those those paper things where you do like you do this thing. I wrote down all the Jets running backs. I was just like, and I opened it up. I was like, oh, okay, cool. That's how I did it. The best part about meeting you wonderful gentlemen is like having the Jets on somewhat of my radar, somewhat. And I'm like, I guess I'll pay attention a little bit now. Not because of Aaron Rodgers, but because I know a couple of dudes that are big fans. That's what I'm about now. That's what I'm like now.
Woody, please explain to him. He's going to learn today about the Jets.
I mean, that's definitely outrageous. It is out. I can't even. I don't even want to.
I did it. I'm not scared.
I'm actually like, I'm a little speechless. I thought I you know what? Caleeb, what do you got?
Yeah, Caleeb, please talk to me.
Canadians, man, Canadians.
Well, listen, I think it's clearly Hall, like, as the best in the AFC East, like, without question. Barring injury, it would have been a hell of a season. I think it's only going to improve because the defenses have more to worry about now, because Aaron Rodgers is back there and all that. So it will open up the running game, and the running game will help the passing game. So it's going to be that. I love Mostert, especially. I love him way more in Madden than I do in the real in the real football. He does a lot for you in Madden. And after that, it kind of like the AFC East don't really have good backs. Stevenson is great, not great, but you know what I mean. He's good.
Yeah, he's good.
Cook is good, but I wouldn't say he's great. But this brought up another thing for me. What brother is it worse to have? Does it suck worse to be Steph's little brother? Does it suck worse to be Giannis's brother? Does it suck worse to be Dav? Like all these brothers that are phenomenal, and then it's you. It's like being George Christ, like Jesus' little brother. Like, oh, come here, George. Oh,
George Christ
of the world. Come here, George. You can.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jesus. This is my little brother, George. We are going to perform a little thing for you. We are going to turn this water into wine. I'm going to. George is going to watch. And then
George is so boring. He does
Here's them Christ boys again. Here's them Christ boys.
You know what I'm saying? It's hilarious. Like when your big brother is the guy, and then it's just you. Like that's sucks. That's got to be a terrible thing. That reason alone, I wanted to put Cook at the top. Just to give him some shine. Just for somewhere he's mentioning his brother is not. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh, man. It's hilarious, but just think about that. What would it suck to be the brother?
It's like being like 10 of the Baldwin brothers, right? So
yeah, it's like being Tito. it's like you didn't even get your own single. At least Jermaine had his own song. At least even Reeby had Centipede. I mean, dang, like you didn't get nothing. You ain't get nothing but the nose. That's all you got. With the Jackson nose.
Caleb did a great job of me forgetting that Nigel had complete disrespect for the Jets. I'm already over
that.
George Christ saved Nigel.
George Christ wins. I'm out of here. That's the winner. I'm still laughing. I haven't cried laugh in a very long time. I'm a comedian. I know comedians. But George Christ, little brother George Christ, dude, like that's slayed. Because now I'm thinking of all kinds of like sketches and ideas of like Jesus Christ and his little brother George. Are you kidding me? Get out of here, man. I'm sorry. I went off the rails. I'm sorry. Caleb wins. Caleb wins today. God, damn, that's good.
All right. So let's get on to the next one, man. Ranking the AFC West coaches. Nigel, you want to go first? Do you want to give your time?
He's still thinking about George.
I'm still thinking about George.
He's putting together bits right now for his next stand-up.
Yeah, dude. I'm writing this stuff down.
I'll take this one first. It's obvious who the best coach is. Andy Reid.
Okay.
Yes.
Off the top. Then I think Sean Payton comes in.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I think it's Sean Payton. Then okay, you know what? Even though I really love Herbert, I got to put his coach last because you don't lose. You don't be up 27 points and lose in a playoff game.
Especially with that roster.
So he's in the last place. What's his name? I forgot his last name.
Brandon Staley.
Brandon Staley.
Yeah, I don't like him.
Very unforgettable name.
That was horrific. And then, I'm gonna give it's because it's McDaniels, right? McDaniels
yep.
Then it's Josh. So Josh is number 3, and Staley is number 4, but it's a big gap between 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Like it's Sean Payton compared to McDaniels and come on. And the only reason, no, it's not the only reason, because Mr. Reed has done this consistently. He was doing it in Philly. He just never got us a ring. But 4 NFC championships in a row. We were always in the playoffs. Like, he's always been great. And then he goes to KC, 2 Super Bowls. Like, come on. It speaks for itself. And then I think it's obvious to Sean Payton. And then everybody else is a distant 3rd and 4th.
I have the same exact list as you, man. I agree for the same reason. I put Staley at the bottom of this list just because he's probably got one of the other than the Chiefs, he's got the best roster on in the division. Yet he can't really ever win a big game with them. It seems like so. I'm in agreement with you. I got it. Reed, Payton, McDaniel, Staley. I kind of put an incomplete on McDaniel. We don't really know what he is yet because he hasn't really had the chance really. Now he's got. We'll see what he does now with this new quarterback and be able to implement his system.
But McDaniels has been with the Raiders for at least 3 seasons, right?
No, this is
his year 2.
This is year 2. You're thinking of You're thinking of back when he was with the Broncos. He was in the division before. He was with the Broncos.
Okay. But he did good with the Broncos. He started off 5-0.
6-0 actually, I think, and then the wheels
like
fell
that,
off.
and then tragedy. Yeah. But okay.
I got McDaniels last. I'm not gonna lie.
Now is that because of the Patriot connection?
No. Hey, I respect Bill. Bill's, like we say, greatest coach of all time. I definitely, I like to give credit where credit is due, but I think both Staley and McDaniels are in the bottom 10 of coaches in the league right now. That's I think, what Caleb said about the gap between 1, 2, and then 3, 4, it is I cannot stress it enough how different those coaches are, but I think they both are in the bottom. The Raiders were actually on the come up. They were on the come up. They made it to the playoffs. Derek Carr got his extension. They were looking great. Then Then they added the best receiver in football, Devontae Adams, who was trying to tell us all, he was trying to convince us through the media that he thought that Derek Carr was like a goat, right? Like, oh, yeah.
Who's on the same level as Rodgers.
Yeah, he came from Rodgers, and he had the audacity to say, oh, I went from one goat to the next, going to Derek Carr, and they got Josh McDaniels, and he ruined it all. This entire foundation that was looking like the start of something new. Gone. Carr in New Orleans. Now they got Jimmy G. We don't know how many, games we're gonna get out of Jimmy G. The team is just headed toward the dumpster. Josh McDaniels, I must say, I'm not impressed. I have him last. Staley obviously should be embarrassed. Should have probably wore a paper bag over his head for the first month after getting eliminated. But for that whole season, a lot of his guys were injured. I mean, every key player they had, including the quarterback, was playing with fractured ribs. I mean, the injuries and just the, because chemistry, that's something that we keep talking about, is relationships and dynamics between coaches and players, but also the players themselves. All that chemistry was severely affected by having so many people on IR. I mean, Keenan Allen literally didn't play for like 10 weeks. I know that not because I Googled it, but because he was on my fantasy team sitting in IR for way too long. I'm telling you, this team was suffering, but
you're right. Wudi, I agree with you wholeheartedly. It's just hard for me to let go of the idea we're up 27 points. I have a cornerback who has 3 interceptions in the first half alone, and we lose.
Yeah.
Right? Like I can't. And people will say, well, that's it. Okay. Season before, guess who beat them? The Raiders in overtime on a crazy pass from David Carr to, I don't even know who it was. It might have been Hunter Renfrow or somebody like that. Touchdown and sends my boy, Mr. Herbert, home. That was Staley's fault. They were winning. How do you lose? Staley lost it. Okay, that was a fluke. It was crazy. Next season, we're up 27. Going home, right?
Yeah.
Like that's where I mean, where it's you. There's something with him. He makes the wrong decisions. He don't know what he's doing. He might panic. In one of my favorite movies, well, actually my favorite movies of all time, because I always say Top Gun, there's a scene, if you know the movie, you remember Cougar in the beginning. The MiG is on him, and Maverick has to save him. Maverick gets him off, and he says, Cougar, you all right? And they cut to the cockpit, and Cougar's like this. He all scared and shaking. That's what looks like Staley on the sideline. They like, Coach, we up 27. He like, you know what I'm saying? He don't know what's gonna happen. He can't control it. Next thing you know, it's a wrap. So that is my thing. Like my brother-in-law told me, Quincy Jones told him years ago, not everybody can breathe at 40,000 feet, right? That is the truth. And he was talking about becoming a star and like what's going to happen to you when you blow up. He was telling Will when he was starting Fresh Prince, like you thought you were, wait until this show, right? And of course, we all know what happened for Will's career, so he was right. But he was saying people can't breathe at 40,000 feet. That means the pressure of the position that you find yourself in, the air is so thin up there. When you're on top, it's hard. Belichick don't even need a mask. He's right. Certain people can do it. Staley may not have that gene. He may be a fantastic coordinator or something, but the head coach, you got to be able to breathe at 40,000, and he's not showing me he can, and he's got too much good equipment not to be able to do something. So after this season, if they, God forbid, they don't make the playoffs, but if that's something like that happens, or they lose in the wild card, they got to make a decision in LA.
I agree.
I'm serious.
I might even have moved on from him this year. I'm gonna be honest.
I would have. I'm one of those that moves. That's what they call knee jerk. Like, like I'm. He wouldn't even been on the plane. I would have said, look here. The team's going to Los Angeles. I booked you on Spirit. You can figure figure out where you're going. Your last check will be on that plane. So you can't get your check until you actually board the plane on Spirit. So I know your ass gets on there. And you go wherever you want to. But one place you ain't going is LA. Okay? That's where you ain't going.
Love it. Nigel, what's your order?
Yeah, my list is virtually the same. It's Andy Reid and everyone else. I'll tell you this. In 2019, me and my bestie drove down to Pittsburgh. At the time, it was called Heinz Field. And we saw a preseason game versus the Steelers and the Chiefs. And the Chiefs looked as clean and as fresh and as unrivaled as they did on their way to win that Super Bowl that season. There's no doubt in my mind. We made eye contact with Andy Reid. We actually got to the bus in time to watch the Chiefs get on the bus. And I had my Zoom lens at the time. So I took pics of all the key pieces, man. And seeing that team and now watching them win time and time again, there's no doubt in my mind. Andy Reid and the rest of the crew. It's phenomenal to see. Their energy is just like out of control too. Like Andy Reid on the way to the bus, he almost like coached everybody like to chill out. Like we were all excited and he just visually looked at us and we were all like, cool, we'll be cool. We'll be cool. Because he's just got that vibe. So Andy Reid, everybody else.
All right. So there you go. You know, we have another topic. We ran late, so we're gonna go. We'll push that to another day. So let's do our last words of the day, man. James, Wudi, what's your last words of the day?
Oh my gosh, I'm equally as unprepared as I was last week. All I'll say is Breece Hall is a great running back, and I'm so excited to see him play this year.
There you go. Last words, Nigel.
I feel like that was directed at somebody on the panel. Hey, I don't know where you are, but I hope the day is gorgeous. I hope you can make the day even better than it was yesterday. Also, I might buy a hat today.
There you go.
It is.
There it is, right? Caleb, what's your last words of the day?
Hey, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed today's show. I apologize if I offended anybody with some of my rants today, but hey. Spread love is the Brooklyn way, baby. You know how it is.
There you go. And as always, I say have a great today, a better tomorrow. We will see you Thursday. And never forget George Christ. Out of
That's the pop off for today, folks. Thank you to all of our listeners, as well as our producers, Patty Puddles and Fareed Kameo. And make sure you tune in tomorrow to hear what these hooligans will pop off about next.